Just going to give a couple of seconds for everybody to join. Screen 2. Joy, are you able to see my screen?
Not yet.
Now we are.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, great. Let's get started. Going to put this in presentation mode. Excellent. Okay, hello and welcome to today's exclusive webinar for the BeCrop advisors. My name is Sarah Basiri and I am the head of global marketing at Biome Makers. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Joy Joachim, one of our experienced agronomists who works with our clients across the globe and mostly the United States. And she helps our clients and BCAs and reviewing their BeCrop results and of course unlocking their soil health. Joy and I will spend some time today to go through the BeCrop report, get some insight into some of the questions she's usually asked by clients, and hopefully help us get a better sense of what we can offer to growers with our BeCrop technology. Before we get started, I wanted to run through some housekeeping items. This session is being recorded and the recording will be provided to you within the next 24 hours. We have also dedicated some time at the end of this webinar to get to all of your questions. Unfortunately, through this platform, we can't unmute anyone's microphone. So please use the question panel to add in all your questions, comments, feedback, as we are sort of running through several different, PowerPoint presentations or just through Joy's session through the reports. Add in your questions as they come in, and we'll make sure that we get through to all of them by the webinar. And if we don't get to them and we run out of time, we'll get back to you through email. Our plan is to hold these exclusive webinars. This is actually the first one, so welcome to this webinar, and hopefully you'll join us in all the future ones. But if you do have any thoughts or comments about areas that you want us to cover in future webinars, or if you would like to be a featured BCA on one of the webinars, please leave a comment for us and we'll make sure we take those on and incorporate them into future webinars. So without further ado, let's get started. I want to provide a sort of a quick feedback, quick update on what we do at Biome Makers. So I'll cover that a little bit just on 1 or 2 slides about a BeCrop Technology and Biome Makers. But we'll basically go over all the benefits of what BeCrop advisors get once they become certified, go through our BeCrop project planner, which is a really useful tool for you guys that you can use, talk about our BeCrop portal or reports, talk about the discounts and the pricing you get as a BeCrop advisor, and all the great platforms that are available to you that provide tons of educational resources and more. And of course, at the end, get into the questions. So a little bit about Biome Makers and BeCrop Technology. We've been developing this amazing tool over the last 7 years, and it's become the largest database of taxonomic references, which is currently around 17 million. We have basically, or BeCrop Technology has been utilized in 45+ countries. We have analyzed over 170 crops, served over 2,000 customers, analyzed over 50,000 samples, and have influenced over 500,000 hectares of land implementing biological soil analysis. We have 2 labs. One is in California and the other is in Spain. And we also have licensed labs across the world, specifically Waters and Region Ag Labs, which you may be familiar with in the US, who are providing biological soil sampling and analysis to our customers. Now, as you all know, being BeCrop advisors, BeCrop is setting the standard for soil health, and we wanted to provide this access to this great technology by providing free education and certification to passionate advisors and agronomists such as yourselves. and forming partnerships with some of the world's best organizations who are helping us elevate this great initiative. And you can see some of those logos at the bottom of this screen, who we have currently partnered with, who help us promote and obviously talk about soil health and BeCrop technology to their audiences. Today, we're proud to announce that just under 1 year since we started BeCrop advisory program, we have over 1,500 who are enrolled and close to, I think this number is now actually larger, about 228 graduates. And as I mentioned, this program is free and with just a couple of hours of training, as you guys have all been doing so, you can become certified as an AgTech leader, just like our friend Al Toops on this page, and you can start unlocking a lot of the benefits of becoming an advisor, which I will review with you all in the following slides. Sorry, I'm just waiting for the slide to roll. Perfect. Okay, so benefits of becoming a BCA includes exclusive client management tools, soil health project planner, educational resources, community support, and other crop advisors. As an advisor, you should have everything you need to make science-based recommendations and design sustainable land projects. If there are any tools that you feel we're missing, please let us know and we'll be able to make sure that they become available to you. Next up, just a quick overview of our solutions, which I'm sure most of you guys are well aware of now. We offer 3 solutions: BeCrop Tests, which is for farmers and advisors such as yourself. I'll provide a couple of more details on those in the next 2 slides. BeCrop Trials are utilized by retailers and manufacturers to measure their agricultural input performance, provide actionable results, and empower the entire food chain system with our BeCrop rates, where it's a sustainability metric that helps regenerative farming practices. And of course, you can always learn more about these through, oh, I'm sorry, it didn't actually load. Sorry about that. You can learn more about each of these services through our website. But of course, the most solution that is used by our BeCrop advisors is BeCrop Tests. And the service basically provides functional soil analysis and translates complex data into user-friendly reports with key insights into yield improvement, nutrient cycling, disease risk prediction, and farming practices. And all of this will be explained to you in a little bit more detail once we get to our session with Joy. So with BeCrop Tests, it's in 3 easy step process, and obviously it starts with ordering a BeCrop test. You basically go through a collection of samples, and we go through the metadata, and of course it results in getting your full reports on how to optimize your farming practices. And from the moment we receive the samples to when reports are available, it takes about 2 weeks. So we want to make sure that you guys are aware of that and you plan ahead for all of your projects. So a lot of advisors weren't sure how to get started with projects or how many samples were needed in order to analyze their clients' farms, and required a lot of help and overall planning and even invoice creation from the Biome Makers team. So our wonderful technology team built this robust tool that's called the BeCrop Project Planner, that is only available to BeCrop advisors and agronomists and retailers. And it gives you basically full control over planning your projects and allows you to do that in just minutes. So for each project, you can get started by adding in your project objectives, whether it be yield, disease, or farm management, followed by the type of crop that you're working on or analyzing, the size of the farm that you're working with, and in return, this tool provides you with the number of samples needed, provides you with all the timelines, and also allows you to create a professional invoice that you can send to your clients with even an option of adding your own consulting fees. And once you're ready to proceed with your client and they have approved the invoice, our team on Biome Makers side basically approves the project and is then placed in the queue. I think it's important to note that in order to unlock all the benefits of BeCrop Portal, which I will now review with you, which includes the tracking analysis, you will have to go through this tool to plan your projects. Again, once this is done and it's submitted, it will basically kickstart all the benefits that you will receive through the portal. We will provide a link on the follow-up email so that you can request for an account. I really suggest that you guys go in there, set up an account, even run a couple of projects through there, just run a couple of tests to see how it works. We do have videos on how to plan your project, so you can totally utilize those. Or just reach out to us if you need a demo or just have further questions on how to utilize this. It basically takes away all the work that we needed to do originally with the with the Biome Makers advisors to help you guys plan all of this, and have placed all that control now to you through this really robust and intelligent tool. So once you have planned and finalized your projects through the planner, you can then log into the BeCrop portal and start tracking all of your projects through the BeCrop portal. And I think a lot of you guys may find this really exciting. The BeCrop advisors who have been with Biome Makers for some time, they haven't had access to this tracking module in the past, and it's really great and exciting to be able to showcase this to you guys now, because you're able to track your samples from the moment they're shipped to the time that we receive it on the lab side. You'll get notifications as to when we're actually analyzing the data. If there are any issues or delays, those are all basically on this platform, and you get notifications right away. And once the analysis is completed and the reports are available for viewing, you can log in here, download anything you need. You can use the following tracking or the other project tools that are available that I'll just go over in the following slides to analyze the data and look at the different farms or areas that you collected samples. But all to say that this really creates that transparency and the communication and the full control that was really needed for you guys to communicate with your clients or even your own projects that you're running, to know exactly what stage of the process we're at with the sample collection all the way to project delivery. And again, in order to use this tool, you have to use the project planner that I just reviewed with you in the previous slide. Again, once all of that process is done, we've analyzed the data and the reports are available, you can access tons of tools on the portal. Again, a lot of you who may have used it in the past, a lot has changed. We have collected a lot of feedback from the community as how they want the reports to be viewed, downloaded, or even the different sections have been changed that Joy will hopefully be able to walk you guys through it. And even provides sort of field comparisons. So if you're running two different, let's say, trials, you're able to compare and contrast the two different fields through this tool. So I'd really suggest you guys check out a webinar we just recently did. We'll provide a link to that in the follow-up email. Send us questions here. Watch Joy's session next on the reports, and let us know if we can help you further in reviewing this tool together, as it's been quite an exciting change for the community, and it's been really helpful in understanding your results and helping your clients, obviously, understanding their farming practices or their soil health. So BeCrop Advisor is a nonprofit initiative, as I mentioned, that was created by Biome Makers. We're spending a lot of time and money in making sure that we make this fantastic tool available to you guys so that you can also add this to your toolkit and advise your growers across the globe. So our hope is that by becoming a certified advisor, you get to learn more about the technology, use it more, and by doing so, we're also giving you discounts so that hopefully it becomes helpful and allows you to save money when you're purchasing tests, or perhaps having your clients purchase these tests through your discounts. And by the way of getting access or getting the moving up through these different benefits from becoming a bronze to a silver to a gold to a platform, you can basically access a lot of, or unlock a lot of different great potentials as a BeCrop advisor. You basically can get access to the BeCrop project planner and portal, which I just quickly ran through. You will have access to a private community. You can get one-on-one meetings with Biome Makers agronomists if you want them to sort of walk you through some of the reports, or you want them to meet with you and your client to help you sort of analyze the data together. You have access to private podcast listings on our website, marketing material and support. You can become a guest speaker on our future webinars. I'm sure many of you guys have seen our webinars with several different, clients or farmers. We promote those webinars to over 8,000 of our subscribers. So we want to make sure that you guys also get the same exposure, and you can definitely become a guest speaker on those. We're going to be doing quarterly social media promotions to over 20,000 followers that we have on social media. So we want to include you guys in those. We want to feature you on our guest blogs and so much more. So if you're interested in becoming sort of a bronze, silver, gold, platinum sort of member status, please reach out to us. We'll have our information, the follow-up email. We can walk over all of these benefits with you again. We want to make sure that besides the fact that you have this great technology to add to your toolkit, you also have access to our large following of 20,000 or so on social and a lot of subscribers, because we believe that in order for the world to really recover their soil health, they need access to professional advisors such as yourself, who are now becoming an extension of Biome Makers team. Once you become a certified advisor, I'll go through these very quickly because you guys all have access to this great platform where it gives you sort of a lot of different tools, like a BCA community, where it's an interactive platform to connect with other BCAs. You can ask questions, share additional resources. We do have a LinkedIn group as well. If you guys are interested in joining us, let us know and we'll send you a link to it. But this is just a closed door community that you guys have access to once you become certified, and you guys can communicate together. You can also look at upcoming events that we are holding just for BCAs. We're going to start doing those in person as well. And if you guys have any events that you want to add for yourself, or if you have webinars that you are holding, please let us know and we'll make sure we'll add it to this platform so other BCAs can become aware and register. Here's a page where you could start adding discussion topics about anything. It does not have to be about BeCrop technology. You guys can add in sort of thoughts or even feedback from customers or clients, or see trends that you're seeing in the farm that you think would be interesting to start a discussion on, or perhaps you just have a question that you think would be good to post here to get other advisors or even the Biome Makers team to sort of weigh in and give you guys some advice or feedback. You can share all your successes with us. We want to hear all about you and your goals, your record-breaking yields, improvements that you've made in the farm. So there's, again, tons and tons of features available on this platform that we have spent a lot of time and effort in making sure that you guys have everything available to you to become successful in your endeavors with all your future endeavors, and obviously using BeCrop technology. So be sure to check out all the different platforms, all the training. If there's anything that you feel we are missing, please let us know. If there's any training that you want us to create, videos that you think is missing, let us know, and we'd be more than happy to add those in there for you to ensure that you have everything that you need. And then, of course, we have the really great reports that we want to run with you guys during this webinar. We have spent a lot of time in providing you with all the tools and platforms, as you just saw, but a lot of agronomists do really need help with interpreting the results that they get and the reports that they get through BeCrop. So I wanted to make sure we spend some time on these reports with Joy, and as she's our experienced agronomist, and help us understand what each section actually means. But again, it's a very robust report. It gives you a lot of details. So if this is not enough, please get back to us and let us know if there are key areas you want us to even do a deeper dive in, or perhaps have a one-on-one session with us to help you sort of understand the different parts of the report. So we're more than happy to do that. So I'm just going to stop sharing now, actually, and start passing this organizer presenter view now to Joy, so she can start sharing her screen with us. Joy, if you don't mind giving us a little background on yourself and what you do and your role at Biome Makers before we get started with the reports.
Sounds good. Hi everyone, my name is Joy Joachim. I'm an agronomist at Biome Makers. I have been doing soil research for the past 7 years. Really enjoy it. Really passionate about our ability to combine soil biology with soil chemistry, which is where my specialty has been for the past few years, looking at I've worked in different testing labs to provide results to clients, and also on a lot of different field trials, testing cover crops and other sorts of regenerative practices. So excited to walk you all through a report today and answer any questions you have at the end. Give me one moment to pull it up. Sarah, do we have time for 2 reports or just 1?
I think we have time for 2 reports.
Okay. I will start us off here with a grape report, and then we can do a soybean. Okay. Can we see all right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so this is a grape report. When we are delivering to clients, we, I find it really depends. The way that I deliver the report really depends on the group that I'm talking to. There are people who, they have, this is their land, it's very personal, and they come and they're like, these are all the things that I want to know. They have their objectives for the report. Oh, did it?
Yeah, we lost it.
Okay.
Back. Thank you.
Yeah, hope it stays. Let's see here. Okay. So there are people that come and they're very prepared. They have lots of specific questions, and we really get into it. And there are people who it's their first time working with this sort of data, or their first time doing a soil test in general. So then I will, depending on what their goals are for the call, their questions, that's how I'll tailor the report. So in general, though, this is how I would present a report. So first, we can see here that we have our total, you can see my cursor, right? Total number of species detected, about 714. That's really robust on average in a soil sample. Every sample that we receive is being run against our database that Sarah mentioned, with all of the soil samples that we've ever tested. So that is where our robust analysis comes in. On average there, we're detecting between 500 to 600 species. So the 700 is above average. It's strong, a good diverse sample. Then here we have the quantification of bacteria and fungi, and then we'll look at a ratio. This ratio is really good. 1 to 15, we are trying to see more of a balanced ratio between fungi and bacteria versus one being more than the other. And we also look at the ratio of our vascular to ectomycorrhizal fungi. It is preferable to have both, but if you only have one, that's all right too. It also really depends on the crop that you're growing, whether it's beneficial or detrimental if you're missing one or the other. Then we go into our summary here, overview. We're looking at soil quality, health, and nutrition. These are really general. This is a heat map where we're looking at what's scoring well and what could have some improvement, and then the report goes into more detail. So I usually just let people digest this, take a look. And the same here on the right, where we show the top phylums for fungal and bacterial distribution. It's also general. Phylums are quite large, but just gives people an idea of the breakdown of their soil. So getting a little bit deeper into the soil quality, we'll look at soil quality, biodiversity, functionality, and resilience. So what those mean, biodiversity is the different amount of microbes and fungi that you have in the sample. So above we saw about 700, looking at how many of those are different from each other. And then functionality, it's kind of like a community, it's like you have this population of, you have a town of 700 people, and then your functionality is like, how many chefs do I have? How many teachers do I have? How many firefighters? What are all the skills that they have? What can they do? And what does that look like for us in terms of drought or pathogen stress adaptation, and then with nutrient uptake, all the things we're concerned about, we're looking at those functions. And then resilience is specifically talking about stress. So it looks like this soil sample from the vineyard has a medium resilience to different stressors. And we will look at more detail there as well. So here first, we will, on the left, I'll go left to right, we're going to look at different diseases. We'll look in the soil sample, and these are, everything in this report is talking about microbes. So we have the microbes in the sample, and here when we look at our disease risk, we are seeing what the sample is at risk for, and this index here where we're talking about very low or high is also combining these biocontrols. So it looks like in this sample, we don't have a lot of microbes that are able to protect against fungal disease very well, or harmful nematodes, or harmful insects, and we don't have any actually that we detected for bacterial diseases. So that's why that's something to be, if you have a history of especially these diseases that we detect here, botrytis bunch rot, blackfoot disease, etc., knowing that the agents aren't there on their own to protect against those diseases is something worthy to note. But it looks like in general, the disease risks in this report were very low. So, but these are the ones that we detected from the DNA sequencing. And move here to the right. So next we look at some plant growth regulating hormones, auxin, cytokinin. These are both at the beginning of a crop's life. We're talking about stem elongation, the cells sort of growing and dividing in those beginning stages of life, and then gibberellin is more flowering, germination, closer to harvest. So it looks like in this sample, really high amount or microbes that can unlock or make available this gibberellin towards the end, and low to medium for the auxin cytokinin. Just worthy to know, and if you're doing a trial over many years, interesting to keep data on these. Here on the right, we have another set of hormones, and here's some secondary metabolites that look at a lot of different functions. Exopolysaccharides, that's like the glue of the soil. We're talking about soil texture, which can really help with sequestering soil organic matter and mineral uptake. So that's really high. That's very good. Also helps with drought protection. To help you on the report, if you're explaining to a client, we do have all of these here labeled. Like Sarah mentioned, if you have a large group of reports and you're working with a client and you want to just like really understand how they're related or what's going on, you're welcome to meet with myself or another agronomist on our team, and we can look at them together. Continuing here with the report though, we'll also look at heavy metal solubilization, which is the resistance to heavy metal uptake. So that's like contamination, which can harm the plant. Salt tolerance is very similar, especially if you have salinity issues with your soil. Siderophore, that's the ability of the plant to grab iron in case of an emergency. It's like backup reserves. And then your ACC deaminase is super important, protects against a lot of different things, pathogen, drought, salinity, all around great stress adaptation hormone. Salicylic acid here not detected, but I would say that's not too much of a concern. We often see that it's not detected. More so, we're concerned with the ACC deaminase and abscisic acid. So here we see that's low. Really helps with growth regulation, which we also saw here. This was low. So those combined would be something that I would point out to a client. Almost to the end here. So now this is usually what people are really interested in. They're like, what about my pathways? What about my NPKs? Especially when we have been, the soil chemistry has really been the way to go for several years. So they're like, what's going on? The report I'll show you after this, the soybean report, we'll just skip to the end. This is a BeCrop test, and then the soybean test I'll show you is a BeCrop Plus. So what we have here is the biology. We're talking about microbes that are able to fix carbon, or sequester carbon, fix nitrogen, and then solubilize your phosphorus and potassium. So we're looking at gain and loss functions. And then with the BeCrop Plus report, which I'll show, we'll marry that with the soil chemistry report at the bottom. So often I'll have clients who say, we are applying, we know we've been applying nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but it doesn't seem like the plants are receiving it. Looking at this section is a great way to see if you have the microbes that are able to work with those nutrient pathways. So here I like to go through the gain functions first and then the loss functions. For carbon, it looks like the microbes that we have in the soil, we don't have, it's a low amount that are able to fix carbon or unlock carbon for the plant to fix. And then when we talk about loss, these loss pathways, you know, sort of, they are normal. They're necessary parts of each of these cycles, carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But the way that they work together can be really interesting. So overall, you can see here that the carbon is high, which is great, even though the gain function is low. And that's because we have very low fermentation, low methanogenesis, and aerobic respiration, normal part of, you know, the plant being, but it is a way that we are losing carbon because we're taking, well, yes. So the way that the plant is respirating. And then organic matter release, very high. So it's doing well overall, but here we get a detailed look at why. And for nitrogen, similarly, it looks like this loss function is very low, and that's why it's medium, even though our nitrogen release is medium as well. So moving through this, phosphorus and potassium are a bit more simple. We're looking at solubilization, so that's taking our organic phosphorus and potassium to inorganic forms, and it looks like this sample is doing that very well. And here we have our minor compounds. So these are compounds that plants need for many different functions, and we're looking at the microbes, the quantity of microbes that are able to unlock them for the plant. So here I would say there seems to be a very low amount of microbes that are able to unlock calcium. If there have been calcium deficiencies in this vineyard, or if that's an issue we see, and you've been applying calcium, maybe this is why it's not getting to the plant. Versus these others are very high, so that's good. It's all very relative to the goals of the client, the crop, and what they have seen historically over time. And that's why, you know, at the beginning, there are people who are testing for the very first time, as I mentioned, and there are people that have been looking at this data for years. So that, I think that really informs how we deliver a report. And then we are at the end. With grapes, we do a bit more information here with wine. And for other crops, this is not present, but I'll show the soybean report here, and we can look at the chemical data as well. That is done by our partner labs, like Sarah mentioned before. So I will get us along through here. What time is it? 11:34. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay. I will zoom in here on the left for us and then move over to the right. Maybe I need to zoom here. That is, okay, being a little unresponsive. But as you can see here on the right, we'll show the organic matter. This is data that we don't provide training on because it's done by different labs. This one's done by water, some of it's done by regen. So don't feel when you're delivering reports to a client that you need to know or understand these all very deeply, but it is helpful to look at them side by side, and you can sort of deduce what's happening. Really, it's one of three things. Sometimes people are applying a lot, and then we see that the microbes are low. Sometimes we see that the microbes are high, and actually these are very low, and that's why it's not getting to the plant, that the microbes are hungry, but there's not the you know, actual chemical data there, or chemical you know, substances for them to be consuming or unlocking. And sometimes they're both low. Sometimes we see that we are lacking in all of these, and also that there are no microbes. So that is usually where having a full picture here, a holistic view of your soil chemistry and soil biology comes in handy. So just wanted to show this. And we will also, depending on the crop, be able to show if it's like low, high, or very high. But every lab provides the data differently. So just something to keep in mind. And I think we can start with questions.
Amazing, Joy. Thank you so much for that. A lot of great insights. And I think if we could sort of take the conversation around, a lot of the BCAs that are on this call may be very new to BeCrop Technology. And I have had the pleasure of having some one-on-one meetings with BeCrop advisors to learn more about their experience. And of course, analyzing this data and running over these reports with customers at first seems a bit challenging or perhaps a little scary to do. So I'm wondering, as an agronomist, you're also new to the Biome Makers team. What parts of the report did you focus in on that, or perhaps maybe did a bit more analysis on when you first started to get you comfortable with sort of the review you were going through with our clients? Or do you have any advice for new BCAs who are just starting out on how to get comfortable with analyzing and reviewing these data with clients?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would say if our course is really thorough. If there's anything in the course that's unclear, I would post questions in the community. I think it really helps to practice if other BCAs know each other, to present a report and to really put yourself in the shoes of the person you're presenting to and thinking like, what do they need? What questions do they have? And what do I need to learn more about? I think I will always be learning that every soil is so different and every situation is so different. So I would really give yourself grace in that regard. But in general, if this is your first time working with soil biology, it can definitely seem very overwhelming. And I would say the best way to start chipping at that ice block would be to read about bacteria and fungi. Further than the BCA course, I would recommend reading more about mycorrhizal fungi and their benefits. And that really is the foundation for everything that we're talking about. Understanding microbes and how they interact with each other, sort of reading more about that or looking for more information or discussing within the community. Great way to understand the rest of the report and how everything's interacting.
Amazing. Now, Joy, you've had a lot of time to connect with different clients, and from different crops to different soils to different environments and using different products. Do you get common questions that you can sort of share with the audience here today, to sort of prep them for some of the questions they may be getting from their clients?
Yes. One of the most common ones is, we have been doing soil chemistry testing for years. We're not seeing an improvement. We need to do something different. And they'll come and say, like, that's why I did this test. I don't really understand what we're doing, but that's why we did it. So I really hope we can piece something together. And in those scenarios, when they've also done the chemical fertility testing, like I showed in the soybean report, it's really helpful to paint a full picture. But I find often that because soil biology is not, it's new, it's like more of an emerging science. It's not something people are as used to. They are sort of nervous and they don't want to, it's something where we need to be as educational as possible and say, like, this is your soil. So if you don't understand, like, let me know, and if I don't know, I'll find more information. But this is something we're working on together, and don't be, because we ourselves, I am also BCA. We ourselves are always learning and knowing. We can't expect our clients to understand everything that we're saying. And I think sort of clearing that and saying, whatever question you ask is totally fine, and we're going to like answer this in the way that's important to you. So I think it's very common that those two, that they're saying that what we're doing isn't working anymore, and that's why we're doing the report. And I've never done this before, or like we have done it before and we just really didn't understand what the purpose was or what was going on. And I think that is where we say, like, let me help you. Like, please, ask further questions. Let's see what's important to highlight in the report. The report explanation that I just gave, I could have spoken for about 10 or 15 more minutes probably. So knowing what's important to share and what the client is looking for, their goals and objective from the test, I would say is really important.
That's fantastic. So really understand the objectives of the client and help them sort of hone in on those results. And I think the BeCrop Project Planner is a really important tool, because in order for you to actually plan a project, you need to really be clear on what the objectives of the client is. And once you're clear on those objectives, then this BeCrop planner really helps you plan around those objectives. So that at the end of the day, the value you're providing your client is based on what they were looking for, not just a holistic view on their entire farm. I mean, that's definitely available. But you want to make sure that you're answering the client's questions and really diving deeper into their objectives. One of our friends, one of our BCAs also made a comment here, and he said, for me, it is very important that I present this data and info to the user as to how they can improve or change their practices or make it usable, not just data. And yeah, I think that's a really important note.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's our goal to empower. Knowledge is power. People are sending their soil in for more data. How do we turn this data into actionable changes for them if that's what they need? Or sometimes, it's a great report. We're like, just keep doing what you're doing. But either way, it's about empowering and making this information accessible to whoever is interested in using it.
It's fantastic. Joy, do we need a science background in order to be able to analyze this data? A biology background?
Yeah, I don't think so. Truly, I don't think so. I mean, it definitely, the BCA course will be a really great way to orient yourself on what's going on in the report. A science background definitely helps, but anyone can learn anything as long as it is explained in a way that is accessible to them. So I would say no. If there's anything in the course that is unclear, I would really encourage asking. And if it's a new field and you don't have a science, even if you have a science background and you look at this, it can be very overwhelming. So I would say no, as long as you are motivated to learn and are committed to asking the questions to what you don't understand, this can be, understood by anyone.
Amazing. So we have a great question here. I guess this came through when you were reviewing the reports, and they were asking if there's a cluster view by family and or by function.
Yes, so if you can look in the portal as well with each, anytime you have a client and you have these reports, we have deeper data analytics, and we can do visuals that will cluster the different communities and provide you more detail, especially if you do a trial that will lay them over each other. So you can look at the heat maps for all your samples together, and it gets very deep, box plots, and other sorts of graphs that you could share with a client as well.
Amazing. I think we've gone through all the questions. If there are any last minute questions you guys want to add in, please do so now. But of course there will be, oh, you just got a bunch more. How do I get a login to start using the planning platform? I recently became a BCA. Yes, so a follow-up email will definitely give you access to log in and start using the planning project planner tool. And if you have any questions, of course, make sure you get in touch with us, and we'll be more than happy to provide answers to your questions. My friend from Nigeria, hello, thank you for your comments, and thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn. Glad to see you attended our webinar. We do have a lot, he's actually from Nigeria in Africa, and he's looking to provide BeCrop technology to his region. So thank you for your interest and, of course, wanting to join this great initiative. We do have some news coming up about Africa. I won't be able to share that with you guys now, but just be on the lookout. So I think that's all I can say for now. Who owns the data and who has access to it is another question that just came in. Joy, did you want to touch on that, or do you want me to?
Well, I can share what I know, and if you miss anything, Sarah, feel free to add more. Each client that sends in their data, it's only accessible to them and us. We don't share anyone's data with anyone else, so it's kind of we're like soil, it's like health data, soil diagnostics. There's privacy there. So I would say the client and ourselves, and we'll show it to them. If they want to put it on their website or show it to other people, they are totally free to do so, but we will never share other clients' data without their permission.
Absolutely, we take data very seriously, and it's it's something that we data is obviously important to everyone, and we want to make sure that Our farmers, retailers, manufacturers, agronomists trust us as their technology provider, as well as they trust us with their data, and we ensure that everything is fully gated. The information is never shared unless, again, like Joy said, they would want us to share it in a case study, or they want us to do a webinar on it because they're proud of what they have sort of achieved, or they want to share that knowledge with others. We're more than happy to do that. So I'm also pushing you guys to think about areas where we could perhaps be shining more light on some of the projects you've worked on, or you think it would make for a great case study to share with your community. Please let us know, and we'll be more than happy to work with you. And of course, as always, we will require your clients' full consent in sharing their data. So if it's something that you worked on with a client, we'll definitely need to ensure that they are fully aware and they provide their consent in us sharing their data. We have another question. Are biodynamic soil handling cluster the more harmonic of all?
I would say it really depends. We have tested many soils from people who implement biodynamic practices, but not always. You know, it's not a, and there are a lot of samples that we have. So to say of all, you know, is difficult. They are usually fine, but even sometimes people are implementing biodynamic practices and still things are not going well. So there's a variety of variables to consider when we're looking at a soil sample.
Amazing. Okay, I think we are done with all the questions. I hope you did a good job in presenting everything that maybe questions you already had in your mind, but if we didn't and you think of anything else, make sure you reach out to us. Our information will be provided in the follow-up email. There are tons and tons of webinars we have on our website that we've done over the last 2 years or so. We have webinars in French, English. I believe we also have one in sorry, we have a lot of webinars in Spanish and English, and I believe we have one in French. But please do reach out to us if you have any questions, comments, or ways we can improve the experience for you guys. I'm also looking to connect with more BCAs. Again, I've had the pleasure of connecting with some of you over the last several weeks. But if you have time and you want to share your thoughts or ideas with me, I'm more than happy to connect with you and would love to hear from you. So please do reach out. Let me know if you're interested in us having a wider conversation about this fantastic program. Joy, thank you for joining me today. Appreciate you being here on the call and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us. And thank you everyone else for giving us about 50 minutes of your time this afternoon. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you all.